What's up, guys? It's Twin Soul Poets. We are your go-to couple for love and relationship advice.
Dope spoken word poetry.
And
uplifting content. You're uplifting me.
Yes.
Today we are going to be diving into the question, what's hurting your relationships? And we think this is going to be a really important and powerful video because we are going to be speaking from our experience of things we've learned along the way on this amazing, crazy road of relationships.
Do's and don'ts.
We hope you'll leave with a better way to see your way out of conflicts in relationship. See what I did there? Before we jump into it, we have an amazing opportunity for you guys. Our friends and twin flame couple, John and Kathy Stringer, put together an amazing course called Aligned Relationships, and we had the honor of being guest speakers on the course.
It's full of very real and practical tools to use to align your relationships, to navigate conflict.
Yeah.
And this couple really walks their talk, so you will get a lot out of it, I promise you.
You're gonna love it. The first thing that might be hurting your relationships is seeing conflicts as a problem instead of an opportunity to grow.
You can't be afraid of conflict if you want to be in a serious relationship. It's just gonna happen.
Right.
And you have to be able to get through it and not see it as this end of the world, ending of the relationship problem that you just don't want to deal with.
If you're like spending all of your time, if you're someone who's single and looking for a relationship and you're like getting like dodging as soon as something gets challenging, like you're never going to commit because there's always going to be a challenge. It's not the challenge itself, it's how you face them. Yeah. And we are learning that every day.
Arguments are good in relationships. Sometimes you need to have a way of working through disagreements, and if you are just going to run from it every time there is a disagreement, then like it just breeds a lot of resentment.
And it's not that arguments don't happen again, it's the way you do something. So it's a lot of times the way you approach something, not whether or not it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And one of the cornerstones of our relationship, and I can't stress this enough, I know I've said it before, is making a commitment to growth together. We, very early on in our relationship, sat down and decided every time we have conflict, we're going to grow from it. And it sounds so simple, but let me tell you, anytime we have an argument, anytime we have a challenge, like that is always in the back of my mind. It's always kind of like this thing that keeps me grounded. And just taking a few moments to literally sit down with your partner, look them in the eye, and say, anytime we have challenge, we're going to grow from it. And both say it and both mean it and make that commitment, like shake on it, whatever you want to do, sign a piece of paper, like just do something to make it a ritual, and it will sustain your relationship in a lot of ways. It's such a powerful practice.
That is so important because when you do make that intention together, it's always, even in the most heated of arguments, it's always going to be this little awareness in the back of your head of like, okay, we're going to get through this somehow. What's the way out here? What's the way to resolution? What's the way to coming back to love and understanding? Like, even when you're the most pissed off.
Right. It becomes a belief.
It really
you
does.
You believe that it's true. You believe because we made this commitment, like we're going to find a way through it. And that leads really nicely into our next tip.
Number 2 on our list of what's hurting your relationship, not seeing the big picture. It's easy to get caught up in these fights that oftentimes some of our biggest fights have been about very little things. I think we might have joked before about this huge fight we had about like who ate the too much cereal or whatever.
He ate the last of the puffins, and like I was really upset. Like he like did not split the box evenly.
Whenever the hell I want to.
I'm a grown ass man.
Like, and it got like real
heated,
real like 0 to 100 real quick. And you know, so it's very valuable to build this muscle of being able to like take a walk, cool down, whatever you need to do to cool down for like 5 seconds and be like, okay, let me take stock of things.
Right.
Like, where is this at on the importance scale of like what really matters? And a lot of times you might come to that realization very quickly of like, okay, whatever it is that we're butting heads on right now, it's really not that important when compared to our life mission, the things that we're trying to create together, how much I love you and your family.
Right. And also, I think it's a lot of those times when you have those petty arguments, there's something underneath it that's really fueling the conflict.
Right.
And that is the holistic look you can take. If you sense there's a lot of tension, that's an opportunity to be like, how is our intimacy? How is our communication? Have I shared that thing that's been nagging me, that resentment I have? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I getting enough exercise? Have I been eating well? Like, there's so many things that like go into making a relationship work, and it's not any one thing. I think, like Hamilton, I think you mentioned, it's like you get this tunnel vision and be like, oh, this is the problem in our relationship. This is the thing that he always does that makes it. And it's like,
when it's really not about that usually.
Right. Like, it's multiple things that can be playing into the way that you're experiencing a relationship. So just taking a step back and really saying, like, how can we come together? Let's talk about this. Let's find out what the aspects are. You might realize it could be something simple. Sometimes you might need to sleep separately. Sometimes you might need a little space. Sometimes you might need to take a trip on your own or go spend time with your friends on your own. It's just like,
Right.
navigating that is an ongoing thing. It's always evolving and changing. It's never going to be any one thing that's like the fix for you.
Ingrid might be coughing at night, and I'm a super light sleeper, so like there's some nights where it just makes sense for like, rather than being all grumpy and angry the next day, just go sleep on the couch or whatever. Like, that's a proactive step of not letting something build into resentment or like more frustration or whatever, and just taking care of yourself. A lot of arguments come from one person just being tired.
Right.
If I notice, man, I'm feeling really irritable today, like maybe I need to ease up on caffeine, or maybe I need to get back to exercising more. Oh, I haven't done my exercise in like a week.
Right.
That
Or
might be.
let the person know when you wake up, hey, I'm feeling a little irritable today. It's not you,
Right.
but I'm going to take a little space. Taking a moment to do something that simple can like make a huge difference in the way that you relate to each other. The third item on our list for what's hurting your relationships is not having a game plan for dealing with conflicts or arguments. So we touched on this a bit.
She's getting all flummoxed when she looks at me.
You are most likely not going to be able to find your way out of an argument when you're in the argument. It is really, really helpful to come together when you're feeling really good and you're, on good terms and feeling really positive, to talk about when we have a conflict, when we have an argument, how are we going to deal with it? What are our boundaries? And I know that sounds hard when you're angry or upset, but it does help to give trust in each other, and it is an evolution. I will not sit here and say that we have not said things to each other or done things to each other that we wish we hadn't. Of course, we've made mistakes, but I do think as we've learned throughout our relationship, and the more that we've opened up that communication of like, this is really important to me, that like, if we're feeling this way, that we take a step back.
Yeah.
That we just say, I can't be present in the way you need me to be present right now. Or if
Yeah.
if I stay in this conversation, I'm going to say or do something I regret. Like, I'm going to make sure that I preserve the integrity of our relationship by being honest with you in the moment. You can have a conflict and still have respect.
And it takes planning and practice and a lot of trial and error sometimes to realize what helps me calm down when I'm feeling escalated angry. What helps you calm down when you're feeling escalated angry.
Right.
Okay, step one might be just getting back to a calm, centered place. Step two is what helps me feel understood? What helps you feel heard and understood? It's like giving yourself a handrail of like, okay, I know this works. Let me just do this.
Right. And trust it.
Right.
Because, I came up with this when I was more sound state of mind, when I was more clear and grounded. And it seems simple, but it really, really helps.
It's crucial.
And it's helped us a lot. And we're continuing to get better at navigating conflict in that way. So give it a try. Let us know what you think.
Number 4 on our list of what's hurting your relationship, trying to make your partner your everything.
Child, tell them about it.
Fall into that trap.
Tell them about it. I
We-
really felt that.
We've seen this pattern a lot in our coaching sessions, especially in like the twin flame dynamic.
Or people who want to meet their twin flame.
Right, where it's like so put on a pedestal that you expect, because it's such a deep, intimate relationship, you expect this person to like be everything for you and to just always be there, and you're always deeply connected. And honestly, Ingrid and I fall into that trap sometimes too. I mean, we have a coaching business together. We run this YouTube channel together. We go to acting class together. We often ride to work together. We hang out all the time.
We
So
watch
it's like,
movies together. We do lots of things together.
so
Most of our
sometimes
life together.
you need a little break, and you need to spend time with other people in your life, friends, family. It's really important to put some of your needs on somebody else's plate, because it's too much
Yes.
for one person to try to be everything for you, give you emotional support and make you laugh and be your best friend and motivate you
All at the same time.
and inspire you and and comfort you when you're upset. It's too much.
And you do a lot of those things for me, but it's like you do them when you can do them. And it's
Right.
like I can't expect you to always do it when I need it. Like if I
Yes.
need support and you're not in a place to give that, I can't then get mad at you because you're not. It's like I can go somewhere else for that. And that's
Right.
another thing that I think is important is like getting a coach or a therapist or like some kind of professional or, practiced person who knows how to help you just heal within yourself, do the work for yourself. Oftentimes, especially with twin flames, when you're making it about the other person, it's an opportunity for you to heal within. It's just so valuable to find someone that you can do that work with. I have a spiritual coach that I work with who's been so helpful and has like improved our relationship together. Hamilton's found someone really awesome he's working with that improves us when we come back together. So it's like we're finding that space where we're working on ourselves separately. So when we come back together, we can be that much better for each other. Other cultures, I feel like, do this better, where they have the community. Like if you hear like the community raises the child, the community uplifts the relationship too. We're so separate in our culture, that we're not used to leaning on one another. We had a beautiful thing in our wedding where we had everyone there you were gonna say this.
That's what I was gonna talk about.
Give affirmations to us about what they wanted to see. And it was this beautiful moment of everyone saying, we are here for this love. We're here for this marriage.
Well, also, my friend, we had poetry at our wedding too. Like my groomsmen did these beautiful poems while they were coming down the aisle, and then I finished it while Ingrid was coming down. But my friend Saeed had this beautiful part of his poem where he had the image of like our relationship is this fire that we're building together, and it's not just us that keeps the fire going, it's the whole village. And sometimes the more people, the more family and friends you have standing around that fire, sheltering it from the wind, sheltering it from the elements and the rain and everything, and helping to feed it when it's starting to get low. Like that's like you're talking about. It's like it takes a village sometimes to keep something going and to keep something strong, and you need that community support.
I agree, and it just makes me want to say thank you. Like I can't tell how many times my parents have been such a support for us when we were having challenges, and we're
Big
just
time, man.
exactly what we needed at that time, and we're have been through it. Also, if you have a couple who's been through it longer than you have, like talk to them because they know some stuff, and my parents have been married for quite some time, 35 years, something like that, and they're doing it, and it's they've had their challenges too, but they can speak from their experience, they can speak from that wisdom. So I think it's just like Hamilton said, it's a beautiful thing when it's a community just keeping the love burning bright.
Yeah.
Number 5 on our list of what's hurting your relationship is making assumptions.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Makes an ass out of you and an ass out of me. Or
that's really not how it goes.
Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. ASSU, me. Assumptions are a killer in relationship. It really destroys communication. It becomes a huge block sometimes to even things having the opportunity to talk about something.
Right.
When we assume that our partner is not going to respond the right way if we say something, and so instead we hold it in, we're not giving them the benefit of the doubt or the chance to even show up the right way to meet our needs in the way we're wanting them to be met. We're just assuming that they can't, and that becomes something you're angry about or you're resenting, or assuming that their feeling state is because of you, like personalizing things that don't need to be personalized. Sometimes Ingrid might just be having a bad day or be upset or feeling kind of sad about something else, and if I just assume that she's mad at me or that she's doesn't want anything to do with me, then I get all in a fit or whatever about something that has nothing to do with me. So making the practice of never assuming, this is one of the 4 agreements of Don Miguel Ruiz's amazing book, 4 Agreements. It's one of the big ones in there. Don't make assumptions, because they just lead to so many misunderstandings and so many breakdowns in communication, where really all it would take is just a couple questions or like clarifying conversations to get past those things and like avoid all these arguments that never even needed to happen.
I agree. And I would add too that I think it's important to have conversations about what your needs and expectations are, and then give the person the opportunity to follow through with what you discuss. So if you've been clear about a need or about something that's very important to you, then give the person the chance to show up in the way they said they would. But you have to have that discussion first. If you're just going based off of what's happened before or the way things have happened in the past, but you've never discussed it with your partner to say, when these things happen, it made me feel a certain kind of way, and I need to know if we can, if you're willing to show up differently when this is going on, then it's not really fair, because they might not even know it's a problem for you. Now, if you've given them the opportunity and you've had the conversation and things still don't change, then that's another conversation. That's a chance that you might need to go speak to a therapist, or you might need to have clarification around it. But give someone the chance first. And I mean, we've fallen into this trap before.
Yeah, I think every couple does, because the thing is, when you live with someone and you spend years in relationship with someone, you get to know them really well, and you get to know their patterns, and you get to know all the ways that they typically respond, or so it starts to get easy to make assumptions of like, oh, well, I know that when this happens,
I already
they
know
always
you will respond like that.
and that never is good. It's like Ingrid said, like, if you want to commit to growth together, you have to give the person the opportunity to make a different choice, to have a better reaction than they normally do. Like, let them, if you've had a conversation about trying to improve on something, let them try.
Right.
Let them try. Don't assume that they can't.
Yes.
Just because you've been living with them for years and they usually do this, don't assume that they can't. You have to assume that they can do better, and they can, meet you halfway.
We all have that capability. There has to be a willingness there. And I think if you exemplify that in yourself, it also encourages your partner to do the same. So we hope these tips are really helpful. I think this is a really important video. I was excited to make it. I think that we both felt like we had a lot to say about it. We're still learning and growing ourselves, but we do have our little 4 years of marriage under our belt. Hamilton said we got our bachelor's.
We got our bachelor's.
And you know what? It feels like that. It feels like we earned it, and I feel like I got a little something to share. So let us know if you found this video to be helpful.
Also, remember to click that link below for the Aligned Relationships course. It, like I said, lots of practical toolkits in there for actual exercises you can do to come together and, work on some of this stuff.
Yeah, and it does so in a really fun, cool, creative way. So I think you'll like it a lot. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about in our upcoming videos. We love getting your ideas. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video.